Headmaster Dr. McEwen, Deputy Headmaster Mr. Davis, invited guests, staff and students. I have chosen to focus my talk on the topic of motivation. We all know that motivation can be a very powerful tool that drives people to put in the work to achieve great things, whether it be academic, on the sporting field, mastering a skill, or many other things. But where does this motivation come from? Let's reflect for a moment as an individual. Perhaps there was a time that you were disappointed by a grade you received on a test. Think back to that time. What was your attitude? How did you react? What did you choose to do going forwards? Perhaps you decided that enough is enough, and you are now going to start working hard and getting the grades that you want at school. But how long did that initial spark of motivation sustain you? For some of us, this initial spark of motivation has fueled the flame to continue putting in an effort and achieving. Perhaps for some of us, and what I've found for myself, is that the initial spark of motivation that lights up every now and again, urging me to change my study habits and get on top of things, doesn't really sustain the fuel the fire inside my heart to continuously act on the power of my initial motivation. For many of us, relying on a single source of motivation, such as the mark we receive on a test to achieve, just sets ourselves up for failure. How many times do you really reflect on the comments that the teachers spend so much time and put so much thought into writing on your work? Does this motivate you? Does it continue to motivate you? Single point, which I will now call external motivation, like a grade or a mark, is volatile. It is bound to change. You can lose external motivation just as easily as you can find it. For example, when you have a hard day at school and are really tired when you get home, maybe you're not feeling like you're going to study for your tests because you don't think you'll get a good grade. External motivation is volatile because it's easy to be motivated to do hard things when you're comfortable in life, when everything is going all right, and when, by virtue of natural ability, things come easily for you. But when you face challenges that test you, for many of us, motivation is not going to work. And that's why we harness the power of our inner drive. Inner drive versus motivation. The fundamental difference between the two is that drive continues. Drive can get you from point A to point B without stopping. And the flame doesn't die out. It gets stronger, provided it is kindled. So let's talk more about drive. Drive is more than just the ignition. It is the kindling of the flame inside our character that becomes the fire that drives us to do the things that we want to achieve. Our goals and aspirations in life. Those are what contribute to and inform our drive. If we simply rely on our external motivation, our grades and our marks, this motivation will not have the power to sustain, and our journey may be limited. So how do you harness the power of your drive? You have to figure out what your goal is and how to get there. Do not be discouraged if your goals are not clear. Look at the journey and things will light up as you go. Think back to my reference to the comments that the teachers make on your work. This is not a single point in time. They show you the path. I will share with you one of my personal goals, which is an example of internal drive, helping other people. I want to be able to empower other people so that someday they might, in turn, empower someone else. And one way to help people is through this, teaching them important skills. One priority skill I will now talk about is recognizing the need each of us have to switch off from unhelpful stimuli such as screens and social media. We all face huge challenges to our well-being. We are on our screens all day with their temptations of TikTok, YouTube videos, video games, and social media. And the situation is only going to get worse for future generations as technology advances. This is an external light from our computer, but it is not our light. For that reason, I do not believe that it will sustain us because it is not our drive. It is someone else's drive, not our flame, someone else's fire. If we do not take the time to look within our hearts and souls, we're taking a big risk in losing the path ahead, losing our motivation and losing our drive. We need to choose what to take in and what to discard. Back to my personal journey now. While some of my motivation comes from recognition and reward for my past academic achievement, as well as working towards a high ATAR, these are not my main drivers. My main drive and sense of satisfaction is the hard work, diligence, teamwork, commitment, and learning that helped me reach these academic achievements, and also the mentoring from my school, my teachers, and my peers. And the time I put aside to focus on my well-being helps me to find and continually nurture and rediscover my inspiration for this drive, the drive that then fuels success in my own terms. Back to school grading, with a quintessential single point in time mark of an ATAR. ATAR is simply a number, finite in itself, but infinite in unlocking future possibilities for our continuation of our life's journey beyond school. I'm not sure how many of us feel the pressure to achieve a high ATAR, and if so, do we know how much of that pressure is from external or internal sources, external motivation or our own internal drive? In my speech today, I've talked about the journey, which is our learning experiences, versus the endpoint, our ATAR or TAFE certificate. I've talked about the difference between external motivation and internal motivation that I call drive. I've talked about how to nurture the drive and how to best set the conditions for maintaining the drive to succeed in our own terms. My premise is that if we are true to ourselves in drawing inspiration from those we know, trust and respect, and use this to power our internal drive, then it follows that we are being true to ourselves. If we are being true to ourselves, it follows that the outcome of an ATAR or TAFE certificate will be the best possible reflection of ourselves, and therefore unlock possibilities for continuation of the same learning journey of life beyond secondary school and true to our character and values. And I'm sure you've heard this before, distracting as it may be, the destination is not the prize, the journey is. If we are true to ourselves on our journey towards attainment of completion of ATAR or TAFE, then the ultimate prize is having the pathway open to continue to be true to ourselves in our journey after formal schooling, to go forward reflecting on our internal goals and values so that we can thoughtfully choose what we do, and what we do matters. Vivat post funerea virtus. Thank you.